Beloved listeners, have you ever felt like time was watching you, quietly measuring every decision, every delay, every excuse you whispered to yourself when fear felt safer than action? As if somewhere in the distance your future self was waiting, not with judgment, but with questions, asking whether you chose comfort or courage, consumption or creation, the quick relief of today or the quiet freedom of tomorrow. Because wealth is not built in noise. It is built in the small, almost invisible choices. The ones nobody claps for, the ones that feel insignificant. Until one day they change everything. I want to welcome you with deep respect today, not as spectators, but as builders of your own destiny. Every one of you listening carries dreams that are heavier than your bank account right now, visions bigger than your current circumstances, and a quiet hope that life can be more than just paying bills on time. I see you because I have been you. There was a time when money felt like a constant emergency, when every unexpected expense felt like a personal attack from life. A flat tire, a medical bill, a broken appliance, each one pushing dreams further away. And during those years, the biggest mistake wasn't a bad investment. It was a small mindset, a belief that survival was the goal, not freedom, that getting through the month was enough, that wealth was for other people. That mindset is like pulling into a gas station every week, watching the numbers climb, knowing you have no control, just paying whatever the sign says today. You don't question the system. You don't think long term. You just keep filling the tank so you can keep moving. That's how most people live financially. Always refueling, never upgrading the engine. I remember the fear of starting anything new, the stories we tell ourselves when opportunity knocks. What if I fail? What if I lose what little I have? So we stay parked, engine running, burning fuel, going nowhere. I tried things that didn't work, small business ideas that fizzled, investments made too late because I followed hype instead of fundamentals, money lost not because I was stupid, but because I was impatient. I wanted fast results with a slow mindset. The hardest financial lesson I ever learned was this: speed is expensive. Urgency drains wealth. The desire to get rich quick keeps you tied to the pump, paying retail for everything, including your time. Discipline, on the other hand, is like building your own source of energy at home. Quiet, boring, predictable, but powerful. When you charge an electric vehicle at home, you're not just saving a few dollars on fuel, you are changing your relationship with dependency. You wake up with a full battery, without standing in line, without reacting to price spikes, without letting someone else decide what you pay today. That is what real investing feels like when it starts to work. Your money begins to refill itself quietly while you sleep, but here's the truth no one talks about. The beginning feels slow, painfully slow. You invest your first 100, your first 1,000, and nothing about your life looks different. Your friends are still spending freely, upgrading lifestyles, chasing appearances, and you're learning to delay gratification. You're saying no to things that feel good now for a future you can't yet see. That takes emotional strength. Most people never build. I grew up around people who worked incredibly hard, but never escaped the cycle. Not because they lacked effort, but because they lacked ownership. Their money went to bills, rent, gas, food, always outward, never inward toward assets. No one taught them that wealth grows when money buys things that pay you back, that every dollar spent is either a worker you hire or a soldier you send away forever. Charging at home is an ownership mindset. You invest upfront in the setup, the equipment, maybe even solar panels one day, and after that, the cost of movement drops dramatically. That's what buying assets feels like. The first rental property, the first dividend stock, the first small business that runs without you every second. Expensive at the start, but over time, the cost of living your life goes down. Most people never experience this because they quit during the quiet phase, the phase where discipline feels rewarded, where you track expenses, automate investments, study opportunities, and still feel behind. But behind compared to who? The loudest people are often the most leveraged, the most fragile. True wealth whispers, there was a year when I felt like nothing was working. Income was unstable, investments were barely moving, and doubt was loud. I questioned every decision to save instead of spend, to invest instead of upgrade my lifestyle. It felt like watching everyone else drive past me while I was still building the road. But what I couldn't see yet, was compounding quietly taking root. Compounding is like charging overnight. You don't stand there watching the battery fill. You trust the process. You plug in and you go to sleep. That's the kind of faith long-term investing requires. Not blind faith, but educated patience, understanding that time is the most powerful partner you will ever have if you stop interrupting it with emotional decisions. The poverty mindset says, I need relief now. The wealth mindset says, I need freedom later. One is reactive, the other is strategic. One waits for discounts at the pump. The other builds a system that makes the pump less relevant every year. And this isn't about cars. It's about control, about moving from consumer to owner, from renter of life to builder of assets. Consistency becomes your superpower. Small investments made every month, learning every week, improving your skills, building income streams one by one. None of it feels dramatic. No fireworks, no overnight success story, just quiet progress, like a battery slowly filling in the dark. And somewhere along the way, something shifts. Your investments start covering small expenses, then bigger ones. The pressure eases. You're not rich yet, but you're not desperate anymore. That space between panic and peace, that's where real wealth begins to grow, because decisions made in calm are almost always better than decisions made in fear. Financial purpose is not about luxury, it's about options. It's about waking up with choices. The choice to take a day off without financial guilt. The choice to help family without harming your own stability. The choice to walk away from environments that shrink your spirit. Money can't buy happiness, but it can buy breathing room. And breathing room allows you to build a meaningful life. Home charging represents that breathing room. Fewer emergency stops, less volatility, more predictability. And predictability is underrated in a world addicted to excitement. Boring systems build exciting futures. So if you feel like you're starting late, if you've made mistakes, if fear has delayed your first step, know this. The moment you decide to build instead of just refill, everything changes. Not overnight, but permanently. Because now your effort is going somewhere. Now your discipline has direction. Now your time has a partner in growth. The journey from the pump to the plug, from consume, R to investor, from reaction to intention, begins with one quiet decision. To think long-term in a world obsessed with now, to plant seeds while others buy flowers, and to trust that the roots you build in silence will one day hold up a life that no storm can easily shake, because here is where the deeper shift happens, the one most people never talk about. At first, you start investing for money, but if you stay consistent, you realize you're actually building emotional stability. You're training yourself not to panic when markets dip, not to overspend when income rises, not to chase every shiny opportunity that promises fast returns. You're building financial character, and that character is worth more than any single investment. Long-term thinking is lonely in the beginning. There are no applause moments for contributing to index funds, no social media highlights for paying down debt, no admiration for driving the same car while your income grows. But those silent sacrifices are doing something powerful. They are increasing the gap between how much you earn and how much you need. And that gap, that space, is where freedom lives. Think about the emotional discipline required to keep charging at home instead of chasing convenience at the pump. It's not flashy. It requires planning, patience, sometimes a little inconvenience. But over time, the savings compound, the stress drops, the system starts working for you. That is exactly how wealth is built, quietly, repeatedly, intentionally. There will be seasons where results are invisible, months, even years, where your net worth barely seems to move. This is where most people stop. They unplug. They go back to old habits. They say, this isn't working. But what they don't understand is that the early years of investing are not about visible growth. They are about building the machine, automations, habits, knowledge, emotional control. Those are the engines that will carry future wealth. I've seen people earn more in a year than they ever imagined and still feel broke. Why? Because their lifestyle grew faster than their assets. Every raise turned into a bigger payment, every success into a new expense. They were still pulling into the financial gas station, just at a higher price point. Income alone doesn't change your life. Ownership does. When you build assets, something shifts inside you. You stop thinking only about what things cost and start thinking about what they produce. You ask, will this purchase pay me back? You begin to value cash flow over clout, equity over image, sustainability over speed. That mindset protects you during downturns because you're not dependent on constant motion to survive. There is also a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can handle delays. When others panic because markets fall or industries change, you stay grounded. You understand cycles. You've seen your discipline carry you through slow seasons before. Just like a fully charged battery gives you the confidence to drive without scanning for the next station. A strong financial foundation gives you the courage to make long-term decisions without fear. And let's talk about patience, real patience, the kind that doesn't complain, the kind that keeps investing when headlines are negative, that keeps learning when results are slow, that keeps building when no one is watching. That patience is a competitive advantage. In a world addicted to instant results, the person who can wait intelligently wins. There will be temptations, sudden opportunities that promise fast money, friends who question why you're playing it safe, moments where you feel behind. In those moments, remember this: slow wealth is strong wheel. Fast money often disappears as quickly as it arrived because the mindset wasn't ready to hold it. Consistency during invisible seasons is what prepares you for visible success. Every automatic investment, every skill you build after work, every dollar you choose to grow instead of spend is a vote for your future self. You may not feel it today, but you are becoming someone who can manage abundance with calm, not chaos. And that calm, that emotional steadiness, is one of the greatest returns on investment you will ever receive. Because when your finances stop swinging wildly with every headline, every expense, every unexpected event, your nervous system finally rests. You begin to make decisions from clarity instead of fear. And clarity is where wise investing lives. There comes a moment on this journey where you realize the goal was never just money, it was peace. The kind of peace that lets you sit with your family without a quiet cloud of unpaid bills hanging over your thou. The kind of peace that lets you take a walk in the middle of the day and not feel guilty for not hustling every second. The kind of peace that comes from knowing your life is powered by systems, not stress. Charging at home is not exciting, it's not dramatic, but it represents a life designed with intention, a life where you prepared in advance, a life where you reduced friction instead of constantly reacting to it. That same design can exist in your finances, automatic investments, emergency funds, income streams that don't depend on your daily energy. Each one a quiet wire connected to your future stability, and slowly, almost without noticing, your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying to make it and start seeing yourself as someone who is building it. You speak differently about money. You move differently around risk. You don't need to prove anything through spending because your confidence comes from ownership, not appearance. There is deep power in becoming unbothered by short-term noise. Markets rise. Markets fall. Trends come and go, but your strategy remains, your habits remain, your vision remains. That steadiness is rare, and rare qualities create uncommon lives. You also begin to understand that wealth is not about escaping work. It's about choosing your work. When your basic needs are covered by assets, your time opens up. You can pursue projects that matter to you. You can learn because you're curious, not desperate. You can help others without secretly worrying about your own survival. That is a form of abundance no paycheck alone can provide. And perhaps most beautifully, you stop comparing your timeline to others. You realize that overnight success stories often hide years of invisible preparation. You become patient with your own path. You trust your process. You understand that roots grow downward before trees grow upward, and no one applauds roots. The journey from the pump to the plug was never just a bow. Energy. It was about independence. It was about shifting from constant external reliance to internal stability, from reacting to designing, from rushing to building. And when you live that way long enough, a quiet confidence settles in your chest. Not arrogance, not hype, just calm certainty. The kind that says, I am prepared. The kind that lets you sleep deeply. The kind that doesn't need to chase every opportunity because you know more will come and you will be ready. Wealth built with patience carries a different feeling. It feels grounded, clean, sustainable. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It simply supports your life like a strong foundation beneath a beautiful home. And foundations are never seen, but everything depends on them. So you keep going. You keep investing. You keep learning. You keep choosing long-term freedom over short-term relief. And one day, you look back and realize the life that once felt so far away is now your normal, beloved listeners. Take a deep breath with me and feel this truth settle in your chest. Every moment you chose patience over impulse, every dollar you invested instead of spent, every quiet sacrifice you made when the world demanded immediate gratification was never wasted. You were building more than money. You were building freedom, resilience, and the rare, unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you control your destiny. The journey from dependence to independence, from the gas station to home charging, from fear-driven decisions to purpose-driven investments is a journey of the soul as much as the wallet. It teaches that wealth is not measured by numbers alone, but by the calm it brings, the choices it opens, and the long-term vision it allows you to pursue. Abundance is born in the quiet moments when no one is watching. Vision is forged in the patient repetition of small, disciplined actions. Discipline becomes your superpower, turning waiting into progress, sacrifice into leverage, and consistency into unstoppable momentum. And through it all, inner peace is the reward. A calm certainty that your life is designed, not borrowed, that your energy is aligned with your purpose, that your future self will thank you endlessly. So cherish the slow build, honor the invisible work, and trust the system you are creating. The life you imagine, the financial freedom you dream of, the peace and clarity you long for are not far away. They are quietly growing beneath your patience, your wisdom, and your unwavering discipline. Remember, abundance is not a moment, it is a mindset. Vision is not a whim, it is a practice. And peace is not a gift. It is the natural outcome of a life lived intentionally, courageously, and with the long term in mind. Your time has come, and every small choice you make today, every quiet step away from the pump, every deliberate investment in yourself is the heartbeat of a future that no one can take from you. This is your life, your system, your freedom. And it starts with you choosing wisely, patiently, and consistently every single day.